Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
It is Christmas Day.
Wonderful.
Ish. Probably, maybe.
We'll see.
Whenever this gets posted.
Yep. Hope you guys are having a happy holiday season. This is Historia.
This is Historia.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Kylie.
And we are here to celebrate the holidays with a wholesome story.
Yes, so the last couple weeks, are more like dark, but fun at the same time.
Yes.
They were a lot of fun.
They taught you something, I hope.
Yeah.
Don't be bad.
Don't torture your children. If you have no idea what we're talking about, go listen to them.
Yes, they are very interesting. I loved researching Perchta. Yeah. So much fun. I think that was probably one of my favorite to research so far.
Yeah, I had a fun time too.
Yeah.
And it was easy too.
Honestly. I know the book that I found, I was like, this is gold. Absolute gold.
Treasure.
Love it. I wish I had the physical copy, but sometimes you just don't have that. Yep. I need to buy a new bookcase. I'm out of room. But anyway. I hope you guys are all celebrating.
Yeah.
Nice. I hope you got snow. Not too much, but not too little.
I know, yeah.
I really hope we get snow.
I hope it snows eventually.
So.
Yeah, because we're recording this like 2 weeks ahead. Yeah. And so we'll see if we have snow at that point, because as of now, we haven't had snow.
Nope. We are still in the Christmas spirit, though. I wanted to go look at lights last night, but we ended up not doing that because our meal took freaking 10 years.
I want to go to Broadmoor.
Yeah, they always have really pretty lights.
I love going there during Christmas time.
Yeah. But all the neighborhoods, I feel like last year there was a lot more. Because because it was like prime COVID.
Right. People were still in their house.
And so everybody decorated.
People were at home more.
Yeah. So I feel like this year it's like, there's still quite a bit, but not as much as there were last year.
Yeah.
But the neighborhood that I always go down to get on my way home, there's always like a bunch of lights, which is like super nice.
That's fun.
I love that. And I enjoy that drive. It's going to change soon when we move.
Oh, yeah.
Literally going to be like right down the street.
Yeah.
But
that'll be nice at least.
Yeah. I still like seeing all the lights, feeling festive. I watched a Christmas movie last night. The Office Christmas Party.
Nice. I watched the Office episodes for Christmas. We've been watching all of them.
I love it.
Yes.
They're always so fun. And then you have the Friends, like Thanksgiving. Now it's like all the Christmas ones.
So fun. I love this time of year. So great.
It is really nice.
And then we get into January and it's like, bleh. For a few months it's just,
Yeah, my coworker was talking to me. She was like, all these days leading up to like New Year's, you have all of these holidays that you can take off and stuff. And then from like after January until May, there's nothing.
I know. It's just, it's a hard time of year.
Like there's some school that gets off, like spring break, Martin Luther King, I think President's Day.
Yeah, we have all those days off.
But like for a normal job, you don't.
Exactly.
So it's not until Memorial Day that like we have a day to take off. And I'm like, that's fine because that means more PTO I can get.
There you go. Save it all up for the end of the year.
Heck yeah, because we're planning to go to New York in June.
Nice.
So, not as fun as your trip.
This will be fun.
Yeah.
I know, we got to plan our honeymoon, so.
Where are you going?
Hawaii.
Don't forget, it might snow.
I know. We're like, should we go right after our wedding or should we wait like a year? Like, we're kind of deciding. Because if we go right after our wedding, that's in a few months. And we haven't started planning, so.
Yeah. I think it all because I think when's the best time to go?
I don't know.
I have no idea, but like depending on what you get.
Yeah, I mean, my parents went in like October and they said it was a really good time to go.
I mean, you could always go around that time, like after the wedding, see how much you got in like money. Yeah. And then plan.
Right. So we'll see. Yeah. Tomorrow, we always do our wedding planning on like Sunday mornings when we like go out for breakfast. Because it's like our time to like, we like take our wedding planning book with us. Because other than that, we like can't focus on it. Like we just get distracted.
That's adorable.
That's how we made our guest list. We like went out to breakfast and we were just like, let's do it. and we like knocked it out. So like next up we got our catering, so now we need to figure out like we need to get our pictures done so we can send out save the dates. But
that's so wholesome.
Yeah, and I made our website too. Yeah. It has like nothing on it right now, but
wow.
Because I was like, we don't have pictures. We don't have like a lot of information.
Freaking get on your sister about that.
I know. Yeah, I think she's gonna do our pictures.
Yeah.
I could maybe see if next weekend maybe or something, but we were gonna do it a couple weekends ago, but then I got sick. So
wow.
Fun times. Okay, anyway.
I don't even know how to segue into this.
You just jump in, I think, for this. I don't know what you're talking about though, so.
All right, so I don't know if you've ever heard of this. So I'm doing one that is covering World War I.
Oh. Okay.
Not a lot of people really know about World War I or what they call the Great War.
Mm-hmm.
So I am doing World War I's Christmas Truce.
Oh.
Yes.
It sounds cute.
It is wild. And something like this has never happened since.
Okay.
Which is really unfortunate, but like that's just how it is.
Okay.
Throughout history, we have seen a lot of wars.
Yes.
And the battles are deadly, disturbing, just really gruesome. But World War I took on this new idea of war because you had advanced weaponry, like you had not only sword fighting, but you had artillery, guns, cannons. Even at the end of the war, you had freaking tanks, like the invention of tanks, which killed a lot of people. I would love to cover that at one point because tanks were not perfect at the end of World War I. Mm-hmm. They really advanced them into World War II, getting off track. But World War I was it shocked everybody because what they thought would be like maybe a year or two war spanned it until 1918. So it was about like 4 years. Yeah, it was about 4 years of war, just pure war. And everybody thought it was going to end within a year or two. They did not expect it to be as bloody, as gruesome, as just so much death and just destruction. But I got to give a little background of this story in particular because I'm not trying to be just how it was the last 2 weeks with like some dark. I'm trying to lighten up the mood a little bit. So we got to start from the beginning during the start of World War II. Or World War I, sorry. During the early 20th century, a surge of competition between countries due to wealth of resources, amount of land, the size of military became all the rage. Everybody was obsessed about power. Mm-hmm. They wanted to show how great they were, how wealthy, what resources they had. That's where you really see this expansion of colonialism, especially in the 1800s. Yeah. We saw a lot of this, especially with Spain. Well, we saw this starting back in like the 1500s. Everybody wanted that surge of power and what they could find to make their exports and make that much more money. Mm-hmm. And that was huge for England, Spain, Portugal, France, all of those. Mm-hmm. And once you hit the 20th century, it blew up. Pretty much everybody was obsessed with militarism. So this was like, from what I understand, is that militarism is just like the high use of military and how influential it is into their society. And that's not always a good thing because that's where you see a lot of wars. And of course, everybody's competitive of trying to beat out the next. Like, we know how much France did not like England.
Yeah. Right.
It was just continuous, and no one really appreciated the U.S. because they saw them. They're like, really? Really?
Just really.
But the U.S. is kind of just like, we're just sitting here waiting. Because for most of the war in World War I, the U.S. was not in it, just like World War II. Mm-hmm. The first 2 years in World War II, up until 1941, they had no role until Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Mm-hmm. In World War I, it was kind of similar, but it was mostly just like alliances that they kind of were just like, okay, I guess we'll like come on in and help. But before that, it was, and of course, like Germany being
Germany,
being a nuisance. So power and political power was every country's obsession. Everybody wanted to have the most. They wanted to have the greatest. And political power is everything because that's how you have high influence.
Yeah.
To the rest of the countries. And that's kind of how, like, the U.S., like, really grew. And after World War II, you have China with their political powers. But right now, we're talking about World War I don't know why. I just keep...
You just got excited.
I do. I love World War... I love learning about World War II.
Yeah,
but World War I, there's just, like, not a lot to go off
I feel like
of.
I know way more about World War II than World War I.
Yeah, because we could relate more to it of hearing, like, our grandparents or great-grandparents talking about stories from World War II where we never had those stories told to us from World War I.
Right.
Because we were never old enough. Or we weren't even around then, most of us.
Yeah.
So, but I think there should be more history or, like, more stories and maybe even film adaptations on World War I.
Yeah.
Like with 1917, that movie was phenomenal.
Right.
Because it really shows how, like, technology was starting to expand then. And it's amazing how they did it.
Oh, for sure.
Stepping off my soapbox.
Getting back into Christmas.
Yes. During this militarism and the political powers, there were alliances made and the devotion to a strong country, and it was just a part of life. So you had Russia's alliance with France, you had Germany with Austria-Hungary, so they were kind of like the same country at this point. And then the U.S. was kind of like, I guess we're with Great Britain. I don't know.
Question mark?
They're kind of just like there, like just like, we'll keep an eye pretty much. But they had way more going on internally. Now, tension was already on the rise, and without the alliances could be troublesome for struggling countries. So a lot of, like, the individual, like, smaller countries, they kind of just were like, I don't really know what to do. Like, we can't, because you had Russia and France, they are such strong powerhouses.
Right.
And they're alliancing together, and then you had Germany and Austria, Hungary, alliancing. Every other country is just like, oh shit, what do we do? Like, we got to keep our eye on this because they can do whatever they want. They have strong political power. And not only that, but they have a strong alliance with another country that has strong political military power.
Yeah.
So all those struggling countries were like, what the hell do we do? And that becomes a problem where bigger countries like Germany and Austria, Hungary, France, Russia, they get greedy and they want more. And we still see it today. It's amazing how just, like, so many countries get greedy and try to expand. It's like, you gotta help your country before you expand it.
Right. Like, figure out what you already have.
Exactly.
Try to help them.
Yes. And hopefully, the U.S. is just like, okay, we gotta figure. The world is fucked up right now. I've been seeing it on the news, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
It stresses me out. I'm like, no one can make a good decision ever. Whatever. I'm talking about a war before. Whatever. Now, war came around June 28th, 1914. I remember learning this in my freshman year of high school with our two teachers that we had.
Oh,
we had different periods, but I love them. Everybody had the biggest crush on them.
They're both so attractive. But they taught the same classroom. It was a dream.
Such a dream.
My favorite thing is that, like, people just leave. Like, they would just go out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. They did.
That was our high school.
Honestly. So there was one chick, she would always leave when there was a substitute during Spanish. She's like, am I good to go? And I'm like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I did that a few times, being like, oh, there's a sub. All right, goodbye. Because then whenever they, like, made phone calls home, you could just be like, the sub forgot to do attendance.
I don't want to do it too often because then your parents might catch on.
I did it so many times.
Or, I don't know why I never did.
I heard the phone ring, so I'd be like, and I'd, like, answer it and be like, oh, yeah, my school just called and, like, was talking about, like, this event going on. Like, I got away with this so many times.
God, I was a good kid. What the fuck?
That was, like, the worst thing. Like, it wasn't that bad, but... Anyway, back to the war. Back to the war.
All right. On a trip to Sarajevo, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, was assassinated by a Serbian patriot. I remember our history teacher told us like the story of this, and he was like, yeah, so the assassin missed his shot, so he went to go get a sandwich, and then he saw rounding the corner the Archduke, and then that's where he shot him because he got a sandwich. And I was like, is this true? I was like, what? This is one that I want to cover a little bit more in depth because it is such like World War I, just like you can't do it all in once or just do it in 5 parts because there's so much to it. But like the assassination and just the beginning of World War I would love to cover because it's just so fucked up. And there's just a lot going on that is actually quite interesting that not everyone knows. So
true that.
We're your classroom now.
You don't need to go back to school. We're here.
This assassination took the world into a huge global conflict a month later when the Austrian army invaded Serbia. Alliances gathered, and this started World War I, or what they knew at the time, the Great War.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Can't imagine. The next few months raged with war. Men fought one another with weaponry never used before. So, like, intense gun warfare. People were like, oh, shit. Like, there was still some, like, on their horses with swords. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
People have seen war like this, but it was still different because the weapons used were completely different. And the tactics were starting to change from the original, just, I guess, more guerrilla warfare was being used than just... what we would see in the Revolutionary War and even most of the Civil War. Because Civil War, I think that's when they started using more guerrilla warfare, but it was still pretty traditional. Yeah. I can't imagine how boring that would be, but also really sad. Right? Our story today takes place along the Western Front in Belgium with Germans, British, and even some French soldiers. Yes, I was very surprised. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
I was like, the British are involved. Involved were roughly 100,000 British and German troops in this Western Front in this war raging.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there would be a lot more deaths to come, and this was only in 1914. So this was just the troops in this Western Front. There's still many more around the entire European area. It blows my mind. Almost every guy was just drafted. Yeah, in wild. A sense, yeah. War and battles fought with haste until December 24th, 1914, so Christmas Eve.
Oh, I do know about this. I know. I think I know where it's going.
Up until December 24th, it was just raging. Like, you had no man's area, which is like between the two trenches. If you don't know what a trench is, it's a ginormous hole, like a long ass hole, kind of like that these soldiers would stay in. Yeah. Pretty much to block themselves from any shots coming, and then they would shoot from them, which is because you have foxholes and trenches. Trenches are a lot bigger than foxholes. Foxholes are just a deep hole that people
you can hide
stayed in. Yeah. And sleep in, because that's what a lot would do, unfortunately. On this night, a truce was ensued for the celebration of Christmas. This has never been seen before, and we have not seen it since, unfortunately, but they didn't really know what to expect from war like this. This was unofficial. Many officers did not approve and did what they could so something like this would never occur again. Because they couldn't help it. Like, officers were like, no, you can't do this. We're not going to accept this. This is unacceptable in any other region. It was only in this area that this happened. Nowhere else. Yeah. Which blows my mind. I was like, damn.
That is crazy.
But yeah, officers are like, after this encounter, nothing like this has ever happened. And they made sure. They're like, we cannot just stop war for a freaking celebration. Like, that's not how it works. And they're like, why not? We just want to celebrate Christmas. And they're like, no. No.
That's funny.
Starting Christmas Eve at 8:30 p.m., it was noted by an officer of the British expeditionary force that they could hear Germans singing carols and lighting up their trenches. So it was the Germans who started it because Germans are super into Christmas. I want to go to Germany around Christmas time.
Oh,
yeah. I have seen just like because I follow on Instagram like a bunch of just like destinations, and right now it's like all Christmas theme. And I've seen so many from Germany that just look beautiful.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Because they have little markets set up. They have like, they have huge just celebrations, and I love it. I love that atmosphere. And of course, like the Germans, they're gonna celebrate.
Oh, for sure.
Especially in 1914. Yeah, they don't care. It's a part of their culture. It's who they are, and they're gonna celebrate it. So the British were just like, with their binoculars, just like, what the hell is going on over there? The officer's just like, dude, you gotta check this out.
They're just watching him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the men, they could hear wishing each other Merry Christmas and were complimenting with one another. Just
wow.
This is so great.
Just pretending there's no war.
Yeah. And it was pretty much, they were saying it to the British, like, back and forth. Like, they're still in their trenches. They're just like, Merry Christmas, in, like, their language. They're like, Merry, I don't know the German word for it. But, like, they were going back and forth, just, like, complimenting each other, like, just celebrating Christmas Eve. And at one point, this would lead to the Germans singing Silent Night while the British sang First Noel.
Aww.
I was just like, I don't know how that sounds, going back and forth, but like, okay.
I'm here for it. I love a good singing moment.
One point in the evening, scouts from each side met cautiously in no man's land. If you don't know what no man's land, it's pretty much that just destroyed area of just the middle, like, shell, which was like shell of the field, infested with bodies, an area between the trenches. It was just like, it was destroyed. Pretty much, like, there was just, if you watch like any war movies, like that middle area between the trenches, that's what no man's land is. No, you do not want to go out there unless you want to push forward. Yeah. Because other than that, it's just like you're shit out of luck unless you get into a foxhole. So yeah, two scouts from, like, scouts on each side just, like, kind of met in the middle, like, cautiously, like, not knowing how, because you don't know if someone's just gonna pull out a gun and shoot you. Right. Or just, like, stab you. So you're, like, cautious, just, like, is this all a ploy? Yeah. Makes sense. So, yeah, I can see how them being, like, kind of, I don't know. A British private met with a German patrol with a glass of whiskey and cigars, and was given word if they didn't shoot, that they could, like, celebrate with one another. And they kind of have, like, this understanding, like, if we don't either shoot each other, let's do this.
We can enjoy some whiskey together.
Exactly. Especially whiskey and cigars.
Ooh.
As men gathered out from the trenches to no man's land, the remarkable happened. Leaving behind the previous battles and bloodshed, men from each side celebrated this holiday as if there was no war. Which is, you don't see this at all. No. It blows my mind. Like, a lot of them were they were tired. Yeah. They were tired of this war. Yes, they wanted a break. They wanted something other than just war. Yeah. And this was, like, the perfect time to do it, because that's what Christmas is about, is to get together with your loved ones. And, like, I think it's turned more into just, like, celebrating, like, your family and just, like, loved ones. Yeah. And just peace.
Being able to spend time with them and not having to worry about things.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that, like, none of these guys could be home for the holidays. They were all in war, and they thought that they were going to be going home before Christmas. They didn't realize that they were having to freaking fight during this time. They really thought, oh, well, it's not going to last as long. We're going to go home soon. Yeah. But it just never happened, unfortunately. Photographs were taken of the men drinking, caroling, and having a time of relaxing. In the article that I was reading, it had, like, a bunch of, like, photographs, and you could just see them in each of their uniforms. They're all, like, with their coats on, and they all had, like, their mugs and stuff. And it just, it blew my mind. I was like, this is honestly pretty wholesome.
Yeah.
Gifts were exchanged, including souvenirs and what they could. So a lot of souvenirs from, like, their countries and whatnot, like, just probably, I don't know, like an emblem of some sort and whatnot. They just kind of exchanged those. Because, like, they didn't have their family to do it, so why not do it with a bunch of strangers you're supposedly fighting?
Yeah, might as well.
Unfortunately, but men on both sides actually played games of football.
Aw, that's cool.
I wasn't sure if it was, like, football, or soccer football.
Yeah, I've always thought it makes more sense that soccer is called football.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why we call football.
I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
No.
Soccer being called football makes sense.
I don't get it.
Okay.
We like to change words. That's
okay,
for
America.
Sure. Some even helped bury the casualties they could find.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in no man's land. So it's giving them a proper burial, because that's always, like, a big thing. Because a lot of times you would have the medics come in after a lot of these big battles.
Yeah.
And they would have, like, the patches on their arms, like their upper arm.
Yeah.
And then they would have it on their helmets. It would have, like, the cross, what we know is, like, the Red Cross and stuff.
Right.
They were the medics who would go in, take their casualties, anyone who was, like, hurting. And it was kind of always just a generosity thing to, like, not shoot at anybody who was a medic trying to help them.
Yeah.
But I think in World War II, here I go again with World War II, I don't think the Germans or the Japanese cared. They still shot they specifically sought out medics.
Jesus.
And shot them because they knew that without a medic, you're going to bleed out.
Oh my God.
So that's how brutal it got. But, like, in World War I feel like there was always, like, these, like...
A respect
of some sort. Like, it was still, like, terrible.
Right.
And there was less medication to be used on a lot of things. Like, everybody was chopping off limbs. But, unfortunately, they kind of still have, like, that I don't know what it's called, but kind of just...
Like generosity?
Not really generosity. It's not, like, being a gentleman, but kind of, like, that...
Yeah.
Niceness to... I don't know what the
right.
term
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But...
That's
just how it is.
It's just how it is.
Now, others helped repair trenches and dugouts, too. So this entire night, there's a lot going on. And I think it went into the 25th, too. A lot of people celebrated New Year's Eve, or Christmas Eve. My family spends a little bit more Christmas Eve to, like, celebrate than Christmas Day. Whereas, like, some people are the other way around.
Yeah, we've always celebrated more on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
On Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Day, my family is always kind of just, like, relaxed, have, like, the dinner.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve is, like, our big thing to do. It's just different between households.
Right,
but,
right.
like, on this day, yeah, the Germans and British were just helping each other repair their trenches, because they get pretty beat up after, like, all of just the intense shells and warfare and everything. It's crazy. These festivities continued all through Christmas Day, but after Boxing Day, this is the day after Christmas. Mm-hmm. We don't celebrate Boxing Day, which, honestly, I kind of wish we did.
I know, right?
3 days off.
I'm like, more days to celebrate.
The truce has ended, unfortunately.
So it's the 26th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it lasted from the 24th to the 26th morning?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, right, okay.
Mm-hmm. This truce was one that has made memories for good reason. It brought two sides together despite the cruel act of war. On this Western Front, fighting and death was still rampant, even during the holiday. We know this truce was unnerving from officers, but their reasoning was because it was discouraging of the fighting spirit. It's just like, really?
Yeah.
But it shows in militarism. It's just everything in military. You got to fight. This is for your country. And it's like...
no exceptions.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. Because these guys, I'm sure many of them who participated in the truce died.
Yeah.
After, because they went right back to battle afterwards.
Right.
I don't know, because it didn't give specifically what this battle was that they were fighting, but I didn't see, like, who pushed forward. Because a lot of times it's, like, either they kind of, like, okay, we're not getting anywhere with this, or you'll have, like, the British will push forward and push the Germans back, or it's the other way around. I'm not sure in the sense of what it was.
Yeah.
We find this truce, though, to occur for many reasons. This type of warfare was new. Nobody thought this fight on the Western Front would last this long. Men missed home thinking they would not last as long as it did. Bloodshed was tiring, traumatizing, and they needed some happiness through this.
Right.
Exactly.
Even just a day.
Mm-hmm. This truce only occurring on Christmas once and inspired minimal truces along the war as well. So something good did come of this.
Yeah.
The live and let live system would have a pause in warfare for each side to repair trenches and gather the dead, even with the disapproval from officers. So this was, I don't think this occurred though in World War II. This was only in World War I. And it was kind of just like, okay, we're just going to respect this. Let's just do this minimal truce, because burying, like, giving them a proper burial is very important to everybody.
Yeah.
And just, it's really sad that
that is,
once the Second War came, it kind of threw out the door.
Yeah.
But this was new to them, so they were just trying to figure out the grounds of it, and everybody was learning. And of course, all the officers are like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, they really had no pull.
Someone tell me what's going on.
Pretty much, they kind of make their own decisions, and the officers are like, "I don't approve of this, but okay,
do what you want.
Do what you want.
I'm just here."
The war would not end until 1918, taking 25 million with it.
Lord.
And the lasting memory that through the hell of war, a truce can be made. So
I love that.
It is. I've heard of this one before. Like, I researched it a little bit more. Like, I just saw it on, like, a lot of those, like, on Instagram or Facebook and stuff. It's like one of those, like, history that gives you, like, a simple explanation.
Yeah, like fun fact. Like, I think I saw that one time where it was like, back in World War One, this happened, but, like, I never knew the details.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into it. I didn't know that it was German and British. I always thought it was, like, France.
That's interesting that it was them.
Yeah. But,
man, we've been sticking to Germany, sort of, the last few weeks.
Well, if we ever talk about more, like, World War I or World War II, it's all going to be Germany.
And Christmas stuff.
Oh, my God, yeah. Well, yeah, because they care about their Christmas and they care about their war. Well, not so much anymore. They're just like, now they're just like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. I was like, good, you learned your lesson.
We haven't talked about what we've learned in the last few episodes. So what did you learn from the Christmas truce?
So from the Christmas truce, I learned that there is good in war.
Yeah.
Mostly when they decided not to participate in war.
Right.
So more that truces can be made even through hostility.
Yeah.
So no matter what position you are, you still, if you have, like, something in common, like, you're going to celebrate with each other no matter what on each side. And I'm sure, like, half of these German soldiers didn't know English. Right. I'm sure half of these British soldiers didn't know German. So it was pretty much just them connecting through Christmas to relate with one another in a sense. And I'm sure both parties were just tired and exhausted through this. And, like, it still doesn't make up for, like, Germany's intentions and whatnot, but it just shows, like, a different side of them through the war.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think I learned, like, it's okay to be human and, like, to just take a break. Like, you know, to just, like, it's okay. Like, even if it's your job, even if it's what's going on right now, it's okay to just, like, take a break. And I know that hasn't happened since in wars, but even just, like, in general, like,
in life,
there's times where you need to just, like, pause and not worry and not fight and not stress. So there you go.
think that was a nice, wholesome Christmas.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I really liked that. I would like to do another one kind of like that next year, but I couldn't really find a lot that happened around Christmas time.
Yeah.
It was mostly just like people who either were born around Christmas or died. I was like, okay. Like, I thought about doing Mozart. I think he would be a fun one to do.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But I think he died around Christmas.
Yeah. Well, that suck.
Mm-hmm. Where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at His Story of the Podcast. You can send us an email at hisstoryofthepodcast@gmail.com.
Heck yeah.
Send us your requests, your comments, your stories, your hopes and dreams.
Do you have any Christmas stories to share that are similar to this? We would like to know.
Yeah, we want to eventually do like listener stories, like of people who listen to this podcast and like kind of share your stories. So if there's any you want to share with us, we can kind of collect them and then talk about them.
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun. I'm always interested because I'm always asking my dad about stories and like wars and stuff like that, or just kind of because they lived in Arizona for quite a bit and they all hung around like super old people. So they would always get stories about World War II from them. And I was like, oh my God, that'd be so cool. But now that like almost everyone from World War II is dead, we're now like hearing stories more from people in Vietnam and even some in like the Korean War.
Yeah.
So
pretty crazy.
Ooh, yeah, it's devastating, but
yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you guys have a happy holiday season. Happy New Year.
Oh, yes.
This is our last episode of 2021.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I can't wait for New Year's.
I know. So exciting.
My sister's hosting an emo themed New Year's party, so I'm bringing out my former emo self and getting a nose ring, bringing out my old band t-shirts.
You're going to wear like a wig, or are you just going to put your hair in your face?
I'm going to try and tease my hair.
Yes.
Because I think I still have, like, if I do it right, I think I can do the swoop.
Oh my God, you look like yourself back when you were, like, 14.
But if I do that, I'll try and tease it, because I was like, I'm not going to put on a wig, because...
Yeah, too much work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well... Goodbye.
Yeah, Happy New Year. We'll see you in the new year.
Yes, we will. It's going to be a great year. We have a lot of fun, exciting things planned.
I'm excited.
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.